You wrote this week about education and how educators are using Pinterest, but also the fact that there's a new standalone site that's trying to use some Pinterest concepts to create boards and to create kind of experts. Do you want to talk about that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's called Learnist, and it's been described as Pinterest for learning. Okay, now there are over 100 Pinterest clones that are all Pinterest for X, Pinterest for Y. Like, for example, gentlemen and manteresting are Pinterest for men. And to this, I always respond, well, do we really need a Pinterest for men? I mean, Drew Hawkins has shown with his Board of Man with over 1 million followers that men are on the actual Pinterest. So why do we need a more specialized version?
Right.
But I did choose to cover Learnist anyway because it does have an interesting edge. Basically, it's just everything about its design is trying to direct you to only create boards about something that you feel that you are an expert or a professional in. You can search by area, and it doesn't look like you have to sign up for areas either. Okay, now the thing is, I've been waiting for my invite for quite a while.
Okay.
Because it doesn't seem like they're doing anything to limit who's an expert. I mean, it seems like it relies a lot on trust. Like, if I create a board on journalism, they're just going to have to trust me that I have the credentials to teach people about proper journalism. I mean, they can't tell for sure. So I guess what they're doing right now is making invites really strict. So, I mean, I've been waiting for 3 days now. You can't govern who signs up for it. I mean, you can't check that. So, for example, right now there's a board, I mean, admittedly, it's very thorough and entertaining, about identifying hipsters.
Mm.
So it's videos, articles, and photos about how to figure out who's a hipster. I mean, I don't know what kind of student would need to know that information, but, I mean, this person says they're an expert in it, and that's what's up there.
Do you think they're just trying to make it more broad even, or do you think people are just kind of hacking on their own and figuring out things that they can do with it? Or are they wanting to focus on more traditional education type approaches?
I mean, based on interviews with the founder, Farbud Nebi, I mean, it sounds like he wants it to be a companion to Wikipedia or a more advanced eHow, like a more detailed eHow with more description. Basically, instead of you being a student and Googling and having to compile all the different parts of your research, you could just go to Learnist and find one page with all your research on it. It's just, the problem is, Learnist is only going to be as educational as its users make it. If its users all happen to be experts on educational topics, disciplines that students need to know, that's awesome. But if their areas of expertise are hipsters, then that's what's going to be on Learnist.
Right. Are you seeing people use Pinterest right now in a lot of like educational methods that kind of show that we might not need a dedicated network?
Yeah. One of the things I looked at for this article is PBS came up with a list of about a dozen different university educators who have been using Pinterest for their classes. Like, for example, this was one of the ones at the top. There was the University of Southern California professor who, in October, I mean, this was quite a while away, he told students in his entrepreneurial class to gather a mood board for a project on public art. And this was to help them recognize themes in art. So if you were looking at one picture at a time, you might not notice how all these pictures go together. So that's why it really helped for them to be able to put it all on one board.
I think it's a great way, especially for like visual arts and things that are visual. It makes so much sense that, you know, just natively Pinterest would be able to be used for a lot of projects like that.